is.
Why are you willing to make this an issue? Do you think? I mean,
well,
it's sort of like the natalist issue.
It happened to one of my older boys, where I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This is before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. You know, I was told, oh, Xavier might commit suicide if he didn't.
That was a lie right from the outset. No reliable clinician ever believed that. There was never any evidence for that. And also, if there's a higher suicide rate, the reason is because of the underlying depression and anxiety and not because of the gender dysphoria. And every goddamn clinician knows that too. And they're too cowardly to come out and say it. Right? And so and then we end up in exactly, when I saw that lie start to propagate, it just made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It's like, I see. So you're telling parents that unless they agree to this radical transformation that their children are going to die, and you think that's moral, and you think that's true. That is so pathological that it's almost incomprehensible. I can't imagine anything worse. I can't imagine a therapist doing anything worse than that, or sitting by idly and remaining silent while his colleagues are doing it. It's pathetic.
It's incredibly evil, and I agree with you that people that have been promoting this should go to prison.
It won't stop till that happens.
Yeah.
It'll just go underground. Puberty blockers are being accessed online by kids all the time through non-medical channels. So yeah, It's not going to stop. Yeah. Okay, so I see. So that's
so I was tricked into doing this, it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there's lots of people in that situation now.
Right.
It's not pretty, and lots of demolished kids.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's a good reason to be the final straw. All right, so let's.
So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that.
He said, I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that. That's why he bought Twitter.
That's good reading as any.
Yeah.
I mean, you turn around and find out that the world's largest public forum is up for sale.
Mm-hmm. Take it. And free speech. And by the way, 80% of what we shared with you today is from Twitter, and the rest, well, is X now, to get it right. And the rest of it was from YouTube. Thank God for free speech on Twitter. On X, let me get it correct. Here is the thing that's even more disturbing about this, right? California passed this law, which was about, was it a week ago? Listen, this law gives them kind of say you don't have to tell parents for transitioning the children.
Pretty much carte blanche.
Say it again?
It's pretty much carte blanche.
Carte blanche?
Yeah.
Wow.
It basically means free pass and clear to do whatever they want. Carte blanche.
Okay. I never heard that before. All right. Listen.
Newsom has signed a bill that would ban school districts from notifying parents about a student's gender identity. That means school districts will have to remove policies that require parents to be informed if their child identifies as transgender. The passage of the bill comes after several districts across the state put similar notification policies in place without the student's consent. Staff can no longer be forced to disclose a student's sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression.
Wow. So California passed is first state to bar school district from requiring staff to notify parents of gender changes. So if they want to transition your kids, you won't know a thing about it. Not until it is done. I've heard cases that some of the kids go to school and while they're in school, they put on bra and girls' clothes and everything while in the school. In some cases, surgeries are performed without the parents' consent. That is extreme. So I can understand why Elon Musk is definitely upset. Definitely upset. They say this law keeps children safe from protecting the critical role of parents. Yo, this is so evil. They're keeping children safe from their own family members. Brother Richard, a spokesman for Newsom, of course, said in a statement it protects the child parent relationship by preventing politicians and staff members from inappropriately intervening in a family matter. And that's exactly what they do in attempting to control it if, when, how the family have deeply personal conversation.
It's none of the state's business getting involved in family affairs.
You need to leave my family alone. That's the
Stay
solution.
out of it.
Stay out of there. Get out of my house.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about I'm here to protect you. I'm from the government and I'm here to
Yeah,
help.
I was just about to say, what did Ronald Reagan say? I'm from the five deadliest words, or I'm from the government and I'm here to
Yeah, I'm
help.
here to help. Yeah. Wow. So the new law, after several school districts in California passed policies requiring that parents be notified if a child requests to change their gender identification. That led to pushback by Democrat state officials who say students have a right to privacy. I mean, these Democrats, demo rats, they are out of control.
Hmm. I mean,
Private
we can obviously tell which side is
is
trying to
pushing.
help the American people, which side is trying to tear down the country.
It's very obvious. There's no confusion here. So my son is confused. He goes to a school. You said, "Oh, let's come over here. Let's help you out with your confusion. You want to cut off your pee? You want to cut off your breast? You want to do that? What if my father is a Christian? He's a minister. If I tell my dad is going to pray over me, and eventually try to fix me and trying to help me to understand what my mental my psychology. He's going to meet that. Oh well, we can't tell your dad because you have a right to privacy. So
Well,
don't tell your parents.
I mean, even with homeschooling, you still have to be careful because it's not
Oh
just homeschooling. You also got to watch out for the social media.
yeah,
They
the
get
social
them through
media.
social media too.
Yeah, and you gotta. By the way, have the discussion early. My son, my 13-year-old, finally got a phone when he turned 13 last year. Me and him talk about stuff like this. So he's like ahead of the conversation. A lot of these kids, their parents haven't had the conversation. Like
Hmm.
if you have the conversation with the kids and you tell them what's really going on the social media space and be part of their social media world. I'm not telling you to take away phones from your children. I'm just saying if they have a social media account, you need to be their friends. If they have a TikTok account, you need to be their friends. And you need to be in their conversation. You need to be talking to them about what to do, what information is out there, and how to filter through it. If you do that, you have a chance of keeping your kids safe
And you
from a
have
lot
to
of
be
this.
on their level.
You have to meet, yep, you have to be on their level. As a matter of fact, my kids love playing Roblox. I'm like, I'm getting a Roblox account. I got a Roblox account. And I tell you what, Darth Vader, I've been enjoying myself a little bit too much on that Roblox. I think I'm like, yo, I leveled up. I was playing a gunfight arena. I was like, man, Pastor James had 80 something kills. I'm like, Lord, that's not even right. That's not even Christian. I
Like,
am.
I'm having too much fun with
Oh
this.
yeah, they consistently on this Roblox thing. I'm like, I'm joining you. So I sat next to them and I got my Roblox account and I joined into the game. He's like, Jay, Daddy, he's over here. Daddy's like, but it's not just the fighting stuff, But there's like stuff you can do that's really actually fun. You know, you can have fun with it without getting too deep. I think the time we waste is the one that's troubling. But I tell you what, I was sitting there just listening to what they're playing and getting into that world. I'm like, okay, see if I can't overcome you, I'm gonna join you. So,
See, that's the thing, Amy. You think there's no social media accounts.
oh, they do.
They find a way.
Oh, they do. They do. My son had a TikTok. I didn't even know he had TikTok until the school called me and said there was a picture that was on his TikTok account that I need to check. I didn't even know. I'm like, when did you get a TikTok account? He's like, yeah, all my friends have TikTok. I'm like, oh wow. And he didn't even have a phone. So you know, so I'm just letting you know, it's a lot more is happening. So you want to be in their world. Be in their
Just
world.
to give you a heads up, you
Yeah.
know, like you think there's no social media accounts.
hmm
They'll find a way if they really want to.
Yeah, they will. And here's the thing: you see those things we discuss on our channel, discuss them with your kids. Like if you know something is going on in the world, have the conversation. I just had a conversation with my son earlier today. We were at the gym. We were talking about the Donald Trump videos. We were talking about that. I said, "This is what's going on." He's like, "Wow, that's crazy." And then we had other videos where we were talking about that video right there we're doing right now with Elon Musk. Me and him had a conversation in the car about that. He said, yo, his opinion was strong. Like, why would you do that to your children? Like, you gotta have the conversation with those kids and help them to think through these issues. If you don't get to them, early enough, some lady in the church will say this: if you don't teach your kid, the devil will. It's just the way it is. You either teach them, don't leave them in their innocence, especially when they're at the age when they can understand these conversations. Have the conversation beforehand. Like if you don't teach them about sex, somebody else will teach them the wrong version of it. If you don't teach them about sexuality, you don't teach them about God, somebody else will tell them how not to love the Lord. Like you either tell them the truth early or let somebody else do the preaching. And if you don't do the preaching, somebody else is already doing it. I'm telling you, they are being overwhelmed with information out there. So have the conversation with them, spend quality time with them, and let them know what's going on. Don't overwhelm them with some of the stuff. I don't. But when we have the conversation, I check out this video. What do you think about this? Hey, da da da, da. And we start talking. And then at the end, we ended up with prayer and a Bible study because they need to know what's going on. Like I talk about like people online who are trying to like appeal to little boys. He is way ahead of the game. He's like, oh yeah, we know about these, these pedos. Like he point out people to me. He said, this is a pedo. This is a pedo. Like he pointed them out. I'm like, wow. He said, yeah, there's a bunch of them. He said, me and my friends are already talking. We know who these people are, and we're telling each other like, yo, stay away from this guy. Stay away from this guy. Like I'm like, wow. So be on top of that. So the teacher is not in any way stopped from picking up the phone and talking to the parents about it. All this law does is to stop school board from forcing teachers to always call their parents. That's exactly the problem. I've worked in a nursing home for years, right? And if one of your family members fall, it doesn't matter what time of the day they fall. It is required by law to call the family member 5 o'clock in the morning. I work third shift. 2 o'clock in the morning, you gotta call the family member and report it as a nurse. You have to report so and so fell. This is the injury. This is the time when they fell. This is who found the individual. And we are doing an investigation. We wanted to put this on record and give you a phone call. A voicemail has to be left if they don't answer. It is required by law.
Yeah, I worked for 5 years with mentally deficient people, and same thing. If something happened where they fell and got injured and had to go to the hospital, or they got sick and had to go to the hospital, anything like that, we had to call a family member, inform them, unless their profile said otherwise. Like this is just standard operating procedure for anybody in the healthcare field. They know that's what you do. You're basically what's known as a mandatory
Reporter.
reporter. So this flies in the face of that.
Yeah. This is anti everything we used to do. This right here tells you the state of your world. This right here is like a sign of the time. and just immorality on display. That's what's in the laws. Now, there was a pushback against Jacob Hubert, Liberty Justice Center president. Listen to what he said. School districts should be allowed to have policies where they disclose vital information to parents. If they have policies to notify them, just like you just said, if a child is bullied, if a child attempts suicide, to notify them about their children's grade. So if you have policies to report these things, so if my son is confused about their sexuality with all the craziness going on in our society today, there should be a policy that bans you from telling. That doesn't, well, let me get it right. That doesn't force you to tell me about that. So you can, because of the privacy of the child, privacy, he wants to cut off his pee-pee. There's no privacy. He wants to get breasts done. He wants a phalloplasty. He wants to get a vagina. He thinks he's a woman. That kid needs prayer. That kid needs help. He needs somebody to talk to him and wheel them out that confusion, because it's not you. It cannot be done. It's an impossibility. But the Democrats are saying, oh no, he has a right to privacy. Do you know why they ain't winning nothing? This is why people are going to vote for Donald Trump. They push back, saying that the child, the students have a right to privacy. I'm done. I'm done talking about this. This is just pathetic. Like, it's so bad. I'm like crazy. You know, Finland, there were other countries as well. I think Holland, they actually banned transitioning for children. They actually did the study and they found out it doesn't benefit them. Now, this is but for some reason the United States, the greatest country in the world, the leading country in the world. The dollar is the monetary system above all other economy in the world. We still can't figure out that this is a bad deal. Like, what is so wrong with us?
And
So,
and the thing that gets me is like post and pre-op, the how can I put this in YouTube terms? Self-deletion rate
increases.
is the same.
Yep. It doesn't change a thing.
It doesn't change
Yeah.
because, like, uh, what's his name said? Um, Jordan Peterson said
Mm-hmm.
it the
It's in the psyche.
it's in the it's a deeper psyche issue.
Yeah, it's not in the
It's
body.
the underlying depression and cover you
Yeah.
polishing a turd is still a turd.
Yeah. Look, the kid says, I feel a certain type of way about myself and I feel like deleting myself. And he said, oh, I got the answer. Come here, let me cut this part of your body. I said, no. I'm telling you how I feel. This stuff is in my mind. It's in my brain. It's in my head, my psyche.
Mhm.
No. Let me cut off your body parts. That is evil. Like, there's no other way to say it. That is wickedness.
Yeah.
And that's why there is no difference in when it comes to self-deleting rate. It's still the same. In cases, I think it might be worse. Well, we don't know. We don't have the data yet because the study has to be done. So we're not going to find out a couple years from now. But by the time we find out, the damage is actually done. You know how this thing goes.
It only takes one generation for the human race to go extinct.
It doesn't look like we're not far. We're not far from it, because these guys are working overtime to make sure that happens. All right, let's take a listen to these people, because this is the American College of Pediatrics. So they went off, and for good reasons.
And we have serious concerns about the physical and mental health effects of the current protocols promoted for the care of children and adolescents in the United States who express discomfort with their biological sex. This declaration was authored by the American College of Pediatricians, but really it was developed from the expertise of hundreds of doctors, researchers, and other healthcare workers and leaders who, for years, have been sounding the alarm on the harmful protocols that continue to be promoted by the medical organizations in the United States. Despite recent revelations from the leaked WPATH files and the recent release of the final report from the CAS review, these medical organizations have not changed course. So we are calling on these medical organizations of the United States, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Endocrine Society, the Pediatric Endocrine Society, the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association, and the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry to follow the science and their European colleagues and immediately stop the promotion of social affirmation, puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries for children and adolescents who experience distress over their biological sex. In our declaration, we affirm that sex is a dimorphic, innate trait defined in relation to an organism's biological role in reproduction, male and female. This genetic signature is present in every nucleated somatic cell in the body and is not altered by drugs or surgical interventions. Consideration of these innate differences is critical to the practice of good medicine and to the development of sound policy for children and adults alike. Medical decision-making should be based upon an individual's biological sex. It should respect biological reality and the dignity of the person by compassionately addressing the whole person. We are here defying the claims made by these medical organizations in the US that those of us who are concerned are a minority and that their protocols are consensus. They are not consensus, and we are speaking in a loud, unified voice, enough.
Enough, somebody.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. This is the fact right there, boy.